This next post is talking about where the overlap is between the tech bro broligarchy and the pronatalist Theo bros, where that overlap lies. So this article out of The Wired, it says, far-right influencers are hosting a $10,000 per person matchmaking weekend to repopulate the earth. And what they mean is repopulate the earth with white children. All right, it says the Natal Conference, which costs up to $10,000 to attend, features multiple matchmaking strategy sessions and on-site ministers so attendees can get married, Wired has learned. I actually talked about NatalCon last year. Last year was the first year, so this is the second year. All right, so let's get into this article. It says, a pro-natalist conference with far-right ties in Austin, Texas, this weekend have set up matchmaking events for attendees that include the option of getting married on-site as part of their greater effort to repopulate the world, Wired has learned. According to its website, the sold-out Natal Conference, taking place March 28th and 29th at the hotel operated by the University of Texas at Austin, has no political ideological goal other than a world in which our children can have grandchildren. But the event, an earlier version which was promoted by Elon Musk, features speakers like Pizzagate conspiracy theorist Jack Probiasek and Cremu, an online pseudonym linked, according to The Guardian, to Jordan Zacher, who discusses falling birth rates and promotes eugenics. Natal Conference organizer Kevin Dolan, a father of at least 6, according to Politico, has previously stated that eugenics, the belief that white people are genetically superior, and the pronatalist movement are very much aligned. Before we go forward, this is Kevin Dolan, the one that said that white people's genes are genetically superior. Just take all of this superiority in. I talked about the first NatalCon last year. This was an article from Politico, the far right's campaign to explode the population. So I guess it was so great last year that they decided to do it again. A quote from Kevin Dolan: the entire global financial system, the value of your money and every asset you might buy with money is defined by leverage, which means its value depends on growth. Every country in the developed world and most countries in the developing world face long-term population decline at a level that makes growth impossible to maintain, Dolan says, which means we are sitting on the bubble of all bubbles. So that's what he's like. Let's go out there and make some genetically superior white children. Now back to the Wired article. It says, publicly available details about the Natal Conference are scant, with the vague online conference agenda promising closed-door sessions to address collapsing birth rates. However, an email obtained by Wired promoting a pre-conference mixer held Thursday night reveals matchmaking may play a significant role at the conference and in the pronatalist movement more widely. This is a special email to NatalCon attendees who indicated they were highly interested in finding the missing puzzle piece for singles, matchmaking, marriage, and family formation, reads the email sent by an event producer named Luke, who did not sign with his last name. We were stunned to receive many emails saying, NatalCon needs to be focusing on this right now, and we're here to serve you. This is coming from all sectors: singles, parents with dating-age children, grandparents, newlyweds that want to help their friends start families, and more, the email said. Attendees are instructed to register to learn the exact venue, though it is listed elsewhere on the website. The registration was listed as costing $10,000 for the full weekend, an increase from earlier this year when the cost was 90% cheaper. A Saturday-only ticket is $500. Last year, VIP package was $1,000, according to the NatalCon website. After credit card details are handed over, organizers vet potential attendees, requiring them to submit their social media handles. The website says prospective attendees aren't charged unless they're approved, so that's good. NatalCon organizers, including Dolan, did not respond to messages from Wired seeking comment. Single registrants are directed to fill out a survey that asks their desired number of children, listing 1 to over 7 as options, religious, spiritual, cultural, lifestyle values, and whether they would be open to a Q&A with the NatalCon speaker to introduce yourself to the room. Speaking to Edward Dutton, who has been described as a proponent of pseudo-scientific race science by anti-extremism group Hope Not Hate on a Jolly Heteric podcast in 2023, Dolan described his alma mater, Brigham Young University, as a breeding program for smart Mormons. He said his pronatalist event are counter to the perverse incentives in the dating app market. So that's Edward Dutton. And this is Edward Dutton. This is an old Guardian article, more than a year old. So this one's titled, Revealed, U.S. Pro-Birth Conference's Links to Far-Right Eugenicists. So let's talk a little bit about this article. So we've already talked about the Dolan fella. It says, Dolan was at one time a social media influencer connected to the far-right Mormon Desnet or Deseret nationalist subculture and has himself linked the conference's theme with eugenics in interviews. On June 13th, Dolan was a guest on the Jolly Heretic podcast hosted by Edward Dutton, an Englishman who left an academic position in Finland after his university found that a work he co-authored with self-described scientific racist Richard Lynn plagiarized a student's dissertation. Dutton once served as editor of the eugenicist journal Mankind Quarterly and is listed as a natal speaker. So they are all about these superior genetics. As a reminder, this is the Kevin Dolan fella who says that white children are genetically superior. So I just wanted to highlight that once again before going back to the Wired article. In the email to NatalCon attendees, Luke noted the conference has set up multiple sessions throughout the conference to strategize on the issue of matchmaking. The email concludes by noting that there will be some ministers attending if anyone decides to take the leap at the conference. Luke also instructed attendees to come up with great ideas regarding matchmaking, which will be passed on to him for implementation. Other conference guests include Indian Bronson, the pseudonymous founder of AI dating app Keeper, which aims to help people start a family, and influencers Simone and Malcolm Collins, who have 4 kids and say they plan to have up to 13. Oh my God, I'm tired just reading that. The pronatalist movement, which views the declining birth rates around the world as an existential threat, has seen a boom in recent years, propelled by famous and powerful tech elites, including Musk, who has 14 children. Tweeting about the 2023 Natal Conference, Musk said, if birth rates continue to plummet, human civilization will end. It is to be noted that he just doles out his baby batter, and he has all these kids all over the place. He is estranged from many of them, including he has a trans daughter that he no longer talks to. And some people are saying that he is estranged from most of his daughters, and he highlights his sons or props them up. So maybe that is the reason why he is so upset with his trans daughter, Vivian. And that could obviously be its own video, which I might actually do. Anyways, back to the article. Even tech elites who have not explicitly associated themselves with the movement seems generally aligned with its aims. Sam Altman, for instance, has invested in multiple fertility startups and said he would like to have a family with 6 or 8 children. The movement gained even more momentum during the 2024 election when comments surfaced of then vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance calling Democrats childless cat ladies around the time of his Senate run in 2021. He also previously said people with children should have more power than people who don't have kids. However, the pronatalist movement has been criticized as being raceless and classless. Not classless, but it probably is classless. With some startups catering to adherents by even offering to screen embryos used for in vitro fertilization for IQ. Dolan told the Jolly Heretic podcast his pronatalist events weed out stupid people. Some of the debates that I hear about natalism are like, we can't have natalism, we have too many stupid people. But in my opinion, the only people who are going to respond to any of our natalism conferences, natalism conversations, are going to be on the higher end of the distribution. Despite criticism of the conference, University of Texas at Austin spokesperson Mike Rosen told Wired the school rents out its spaces indiscriminately. The AT&T Hotel and Conference Center leases space to non-university groups for their events without regard to their viewpoint, consistent with the First Amendment. Now, it says at the end of this article, the venue also hosted an Ayn Rand conference in February. So they're out here just trying to collect some money because, who isn't struggling in this economy? So they need to make that money. So hopefully, you can see where the tech bros, these pronatalist people, and, these racist eugenicists, where their values are overlapping. It is very interesting to see and note where all of these figures, how they're all coming together. Anyways, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and go ahead and give me a follow.